Hello and welcome to our podcast. This is Mr. Echo and I am Mr. R.
I thought he was going to change his name this week. So today it's a special episode. We reached the mark where some people have said we're going to stop doing this podcast. It's like three or fourth episode. We're in episode number five. And it's been like a month since we started doing this. We're actually happy. Now, too much about us. Let's dive into our topic of discussion today.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, conspiracy theories. Now, if you don't know what a conspiracy theory is, you must be living under a rock, or you know this conspiracy theory that there are no conspiracy theories, right?
That's also one of the
Conspiracy theories. So today we're gonna dive deep into not only what the conspiracy theory is, who started it, the history of it all, but we're gonna dive into how they how individual might have got it into the notion of believing that conspiracy theory was true or not. Now, I think that is more important because today we're gonna starting off with our first topic is these days there's a lot of people who think that vaccines cause autism, and that's a conspiracy theory. And one of the offshoots of that conspiracy theory is that people, the governments, and like the special interests or any people in any nation are testing these different kinds of medicines for which extend life or do certain kind of superhuman abilities for the rich, and they don't want to experiment on themselves, and they're giving that medicine
as
vaccines to people just so they can test what is right and what is wrong. That's my take on it. What's your take on that?
It's a conspiracy theory. I don't believe in that theory.
You don't believe in that. Why do you not believe in that? Let's dive into that. Why you as an individual choose to not believe that's true?
Because these vaccines are tried and tested. There are no
outliers or
about it being true. There are no proof. I don't think there are proof. There is any proof.
So for me, the burden of proof when you say vaccines cause autism is the fact that the burden of proof is upon the person who's making that statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
If some scientist comes out and says vaccines don't cause autism, he has the burden of proof of saying, okay, here are the reasons why vaccines don't cause autism. Now, because of the advancements in modern science and medicine, there's been a recorded history of each and every drug and each and every type of medicine or procedure that has been tried and tested and peer reviewed in journals. Now, the viability and the reputation of each journal, I'm not going to go into that, right? Because that's something out of my scope, and somebody who's a medical professional might be able to say more on that. But the fact of the matter is, if you as an individual are planning to not vaccinate yourself, you're free to do so. But if you're not vaccinating your children, and then you do not have more than reasonable doubt or more than something of a gut feeling, then you are in the wrong, because you do not have the same mindset as a doctor or same mindset as a third world country. Let me give you a perspective for all our viewers from different countries from Western civilization who might believe that vaccines cause autism, right? This one is more targeted towards you, because there's individuals in my country, Nepal, when you go up in the mountains, children die because they don't get vaccines.
Exactly.
They can't afford it. While you have the luxury and the privilege of having the opportunity to give your children vaccines and them not dying, and you're choosing not to do so. While on the other edge of the world, people are dying not just because they don't have the choice, but because they can't reach it. They don't have financial ability. They don't have the knowledge to do that. Now, who's to blame? Now, I say you have the power to question everything that your government gives you, right? You have to be skeptical about everything. We're going to get into the underlying conspiracy behind this conspiracy. You have the reasonable doubt to do that. But if you're going to be informing somebody else, I say you inform yourself. and understand the whole concept of not trusting big government. Now, there's other underlying conspiracy behind that. Do you know about the Illuminati?
Yeah.
You want to talk more about that? Like,
the Illuminati is said to be a group of people that control everything that happens around the government or around the economy. Everything there, it is controlled by the Illuminati.
So, like, who are these people?
They are whoever in power, whoever, all people, the most people in the power are the members of the Illuminati.
See, the thing about it is, since we started talking about Illuminati, the horns stopped blaring and just got really quiet around here. Anyways, thinking about that, there might be a picture of in the screen about the Illuminati. We're gonna show that to you. I just sent him the link for that. There's like that picture. If you don't know what the Illuminati is, there's that picture of that pyramid with the eye in the center, and then they think that the eye of that the Illuminati is like this concept where these people, certain special groups of people, hold that power. Is it there? Like the picture, is it there in the screen? So these people hold power, and they make all the decisions in the world. They make the economic decisions. They make these
this one, this is the Illuminati.
That little triangle thing, like the green one, right? So the Illuminati is this certain group of people who have special interests. Now, so many people have said like all these people like. Dave Chappelle is a robot. That's another conspiracy because the Illuminati replaced him because he just quit Comedy Central back in 2005 after his Chappelle show, and then they say that Obama was part of the Illuminati. Now I understand the notion behind people wanting to associate certain things and certain groups with underlying like nefarious concept, like if you look at it from a perspective, let's look at the Avengers movie, okay, the whole franchise. Now, I'll relate like the whole why there is a need for conspiracy theories among people to in terms of movies, so that people can relate much easier to in that concept. Okay, so imagine you watch the Avengers movie, right?
Yeah.
And then this was way before like the name of the Avengers Endgame was released, okay? So everybody was frantically looking for clues in movies and everything, right? So that's an inherent need for people to look for clues in movies because they love that. And like it makes the whole experience much better if they're like, oh, I noticed that there's like a Easter egg or there's like a hidden meaning behind everything. So when Tony Stark in Age of Ultron like comes up and he says, when Captain America and everybody else is questioning him for programming and creating Ultron, he says, "How are we going to defeat that? That's the end game." He says that, and there's like a video of analyzing when he said the end game, and then goes to like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange saying, "We're in the end game now." So you see that human notion of finding hidden meanings behind everything. Then there's like a greater need for doing that. And to go a little bit further back into the Avengers universe, everything that Loki did in the first Avengers movie was in reaction to what Thanos was doing. Thanos was doing in the background, right? So everybody waited for that extra credit scene. So there's an inherent need for everybody to look for hidden meanings in society. Let's say if some politician says something, there's like a critic saying, "Oh, he said that because he's been pushing his XYZ agenda," right? So there's an inherent need for that. So anytime somebody else does something in society, there's this inherent need for having conspiracy theory. Now, going back to that, the conspiracy theory behind Illuminati is every time there is a celebrity out there in the world, they have this conspiracy theory that they're controlled by the Illuminati and they're replaced by robots.
Oprah is controlled by
the Illuminati. She's part of this cult where Hillary Clinton goes to these these Bilderberg meetings where she's uh, going to these meetings where they have these sex cults and they have this goat and like everything going on, and she's part of the Satan and everything. Yeah, of course, I understand. Like all these rich people are. The whole concept is so crazy, right? Now I'm gonna send you this link, right? You might want to play this video. It's like a 17 seconds video.
Okay.
Of Cardi B giving an interview, and then the thing about it is she's like getting stuck.
Okay.
Like she gets stuck, trying to act like a robot, or you can see that video right there. She's like stuck right there, and then this whole video is so scary because she's talking and then she just acts like a robot and just glitches, and then yeah, she's doing this interview. Is it being played?
Oh, no.
Did you see it?
No, not yet.
Okay.
You continue speaking.
So she acts like a robot, dude. And then like everybody was like, "Oh, she's part of the MK Ultra, this CIA, part of this Illuminati project where CIA has sent out all these celebrities acting all crazy." Like, did you notice? Okay, I'm gonna go deep into this. This is another conspiracy where CIA is controlling all these celebrities to be part of this this conspiracy where they're trying to control the minds of the American people, and in a greater form, like the people of the world, whoever watched this American propaganda. So apparently, have you noticed Miley Cyrus went crazy for a while, like
Yeah.
relatively crazy. Let's say
Relatively crazy,
it's her life. She can do whatever she wants. If she wants to act the way she wants, she has the freedom to. And I'm not judging her anyway. I'm not judging anybody. Like, you can hold whatever beliefs. I'm just discussing this in terms of intellectual platform, because I want to discuss this. This is real good, like serious phenomenon happening in our society. So Miley Cyrus went crazy for a while, right?
Yeah.
And before that, Britney Spears went crazy for a while.
Yeah.
And before that, Madonna went crazy for a while. Before that, Michael Jackson went crazy for a while. Michael Jackson was like batshit insane for the amount of things that I saw. Like, I don't think, I'm not diminishing any of their like accolades. They're way talented than I am in their respective manners. But like all these things, all these did that video play?
Yeah. I've just played it.
Did you see that robot? Like, see glitches? And then they just talk about robot, and then she just glitches like that.
Okay, yeah.
And then they all have this thing about robot glitches and everything. Then there is the other one where like the Prince William and then Meghan Markle are in like an interview, and they don't look like themselves at all. And this other, did you see like Mark Zuckerberg's like that interview where he is testifying in the Senate or whatever, and he looks like a robot?
Yeah,
he's smiling, and then
he has no reactions, no expressions.
Yeah, and I thought he was on Adderall or something like that. Marky Mark, if you're looking at me and if you're watching this video, I was like, I don't mean anything bad. You can sponsor us too. Anyway, so this MK Ultra project. Now I'm gonna dive into it. So apparently, all these ever since the 50s and 60s, the conspiracy is, and some of it's true too. Some of these philosophers and leaders and like political and social influencers at the time were paid by CIA to push a certain agenda in society so that they can get certain kind of works, like their agenda fulfilled. And there's this project called MK Ultra where you design superhuman robots as soldiers. There are different variants of each of these conspiracy. MK Ultra. And then have you seen the movie American Ultra?
No.
Where like you're programmed, and with a certain set of keywords, like you act like a robot. So let's say if the keyword is Rosebud from Citizen Kane, if you watch Citizen Kane, such a good movie. If you say Rosebud, like that person like stops like acting like altogether and becomes a like servant, like a slave to you. and then you can tell that person to do anything you want. Now I don't know how like the people got into that, but like seeing videos like the one we just showed in this episode, it's such a crazy notion that people start like associating certain things. Like for example, when you put your elbow and then hit somewhere, like you get that current feeling, like you, and then you go all like
an electric shock.
Yeah, it's a kind of feeling, right? And sometimes when you're walking, do you get that like? It feels like somebody's pinching you in the back with a knife, and then you act like a robot. That might have happened in that video. I don't know for sure, right? Maybe she was high on something like rock stars are and rappers are. I'm not saying she's high or anything. I'm just assuming.
She might be. Yeah.
She might be. We don't know. To assume that she's part of this bigger conspiracy where CIA is controlling her as a robot, I don't think that's possible. Do you?
No, I think those artists can't be controlled.
Why do you think so? Like,
because it's a controlled art is not art. They are creating something. They are way more talented, So controlling someone cannot harness their talent.
So I've also gone to like, let's move on to like the artist conspiracy of this all. They say that like every kind of music these days are just created through a computer, and they're just picking out like good looking people or certain people with a little bit of talent just to put like same kind of music everywhere. And I kind of believe to that. And I think that's a conspiracy that I believe in. Because like the music sucks, man. Some of the music sucks these days. And that's like a mild conspiracy that that might be true. Because if you really look at it, there's not a lot of talented people that are up on like the main stage. And I'm not diminishing anybody's talent over there, but I've seen such amazing talent in like streets of New Orleans where people are just playing guitar and then they have so much passion for the music. And I don't see those people like represented in my mainstream media, and not because like people are not hungry for that. I've seen the same people rocking out to some shitty rap, like Gucci Gang, that song, react so well to like the music down on Jackson Square in New Orleans. Now, if some people think like I'm some sort of this like fucking posh idiot who is like quoting New Orleans just to show off. No, because that's a experience I can relate with. Similarly, there's people in like the Kathmandu Darbar Square who play their like the Nepalese traditional violin sarangi.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's amazing. They play in the buses. They do all that. And I've noticed this trend in Nepal too with all these live reality music shows. Like not the good musicians don't go there. I've never seen like good musicians go and perform there, like really good musician. Because one of my friends who played in Tamil right around like Christmas and New Year's this past year. Oh my God, I've never seen so much talent like packed in a room right there. People playing such a good music, and they're not only playing like Western music. They're doing like fusion with American music, blues, jazz. They were doing some Eastern European. They were just trying to some Mongolian like throat singing into it too. I was like, what the hell am I watching this, man? This is amazing. And you don't see that. And that's the kind of music you rather enjoy, you know? Why do people listen to Pink Floyd over and over and over again and not like some Cardi B song? I'm going to say it. I'm not going to listen to a Cardi B song like all day, because like for a while it's pretty funny for clubs and women and men shaking their booties at you. It's pretty good, and like it's pretty good.
If you're in a club, you're dancing, it's fine, but you don't listen to it all day long at home when you're just
trying to work. Going from this, let's do you want to go like into like the really crazy conspiracy theories, like straight up go like to the deep end?
Okay, let's go ahead.
Which one do you want to talk about? Like, do you want to talk about like the one like which shall not be mentioned? Like
Christianity?
Oh yeah, just go ahead. We just had this discussion in a tea shop right before we shot this podcast, and Rivaj is gonna talk about how Christianity got the name Christianity.
Actually, there's no evidence of what do you say?
Yeah, that was such a good way, just a
Evidence of-
professional
yeah.
way of handling this podcast that we get phone calls during the podcast.
Sorry.
We don't want to
Jesus
cut it off for
Christ.
you guys either.
Yeah.
Like we're
Jesus
doing this
Christ-
one take.
Okay, Jesus Christ was only documented from 29 years old, right? His age.
That's what the conspiracy
Yeah,
theory is, right?
And before that, the conspiracy theory says that he was in India, somewhere in India or Nepal or anywhere, eastern side of the globe. Globe doesn't have.
Yeah, globe.
Okay. And he was into this Hindu
mythology, Hindu Buddhist mixture.
He was in that phase, and he learned a lot from this phase, and he wanted to
distribute
that knowledge to his country or to his civilization. So he was very much influenced from Krishna, right?
Yeah, Krishna's principles, or in Nepali, it's Krishna's niti. Niti means principles. Niti, Neeti, or in Nepalese script in a certain way, Krishna's principles is Krishna's niti.
And when he went there and shared the knowledge,
Krishna's niti
became
Christianity. And when we heard this, we were like,
what?
Hey, solid conspiracy, man. That's like just blew our mind, and it's a plausible one too.
Yeah.
And then if you really wanna, do you mind silencing the phone?
Yeah, it's silenced.
Like vibration mode.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want to see the message I just sent you? The next one we're gonna be talking about.
Okay.
Like this one. I don't want to spoil the fun, but it seems like an inside joke. But yeah,
inside
joke. You're gonna get the jokes right here, right after this. So that conspiracy, when I heard about it, I was like, nah. But then when we watched The Man from Earth, that movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't watched The Man from Earth, the movie, the second one is shit.
The first
I'm gonna
one
say
is...
we're gonna put the IMDb picture of a Man from Earth. I'm gonna send him the link for that. The Man from Earth. That movie is such a brilliant movie. We don't want to give away like the whole thing about the movie, but
it kind of relates to the conspiracy.
Yeah, I just sent you the link for that. So it's such a nice movie where this guy is about to leave his friends and go away, and then he's having this last get together with his friends, and he's talking about why he's leaving, and then it turns out he proposes this hypothesis that he's a Paleolithic man, and he's been living in this world for 140 centuries, and then he hasn't aged a day from age 35, and then he and his friends go back and forth about how it might be true. Is that link up on that?
IMDb.
IMDb page for that. The second one is shit, but this movie is so awesome. If you haven't watched this, I think like everybody who's watched this podcast must have watched this movie. If you haven't watched this movie, you need to watch this movie. It's brilliant. So do you want to go into the biggest conspiracy theory that we're going to talk about today?
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, jet fuels do not melt
steel beams. If you don't know what that we're about to talk about, the thing about it is, if you watched like so many documentaries, now it's going to be insensitive to a lot of people. Now, there's a disclaimer. We don't mean anything, but there's fucking people out there right now saying 9/11 was an inside job. Now, they're showing all these footage and all these coincidences and happenstance saying that, like, it's a hologram, that, like, the planes that struck the Twin Towers were not planes at all, but then it was just holograms of planes showing, and it was a missile for real. I call bullshit, man. Who would want to do that shit? Like, you want to talk more about this? Because I'm disgusted by this one.
But there are possibilities as well, but I don't think those were holograms. They were actual planes.
So
They
what are
did
the
hit,
possibilities?
but
I'm a non-believer in this one.
there might be, it might be an inside job as well.
I would like give me the reasons why it might be.
Mhm. To bring all this conspiracy, the propaganda about Bin Laden
Uh huh. Like
and
Osama.
Osama, yeah, and intervening Afghanistan, everything, it came after that, right?
Yeah.
So for that reason, for showing off power, and then
For oil.
for oil, the most important one is the oil. I think for that reason, it might be an inside job.
But why would anybody want to kill their own citizens for just like sake of having this like war against terrorism? Because I think I
It's
don't
not
think
for the war for terrorism. It's for the vested interest.
like oil, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but I don't see the reason why anybody would wanna just like willy nilly just walk into this plan and like think like, oh, even if you're imagine, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're one of imagine you're one of those people who wants to do this,
Okay.
and then your companies and your vested interests are profiteered. Okay, so the thing about it is you have to take this plan where you attack one of the like they attacked the Pentagon too at that time. So you go and attack one of the safest countries in the world and like the most feared nations at that time. You want to attack that country, their military base,
Okay.
their economic capital, and like broad daylight,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want to attack them, and you think for some reason they're not going to retaliate, and they're not going to find out with investigations.
Exactly. That's the point. If Osama did think about that, why would he do that?
So you think like he
That's
was.
why I think it's an inside job.
So you think like Osama was just like the pansy, like the guy they just put up front just to blame the all things, but they were something else was going back in the night.
Exactly.
Now I am a firm non-believer of that.
Okay.
Now here's the reason why. To execute all of that, you need to have a bunch of psychopaths working together for the common goal, right? Now, why I say that is anybody who doesn't believe that the people who did this whole thing weren't psychopaths, then I do not like want to trust you because like killing people for any reason is a psychopath, right? And I've noticed psychopaths don't work with reason. They don't work for like they don't work together. Like if you believe that, if you don't believe that, watch Dexter. Everybody has a certain different motive. Now, if you think, oh, that's fiction, and then you want to resort to some other form where like psychopaths are working together, I I don't think psychopaths work together in such a manner that they have a common goal. Now, one might say now every time like when you have discussions about psychopath, they always go to like Hitler, like the Hitler argument. Like any argument that goes like invokes Hitler, they have lost the argument. But it's much more relevant here. Hitler, for lack of a better word, was a sociopath or a psychopath because people who wants to exterminate other people are in some form psychopath, right? And the people that followed them were psychopaths too. They were not working towards a common goal, right? Everybody had like a different goal at that time. From all the literature I've read, everybody was against somebody else. Like there was vested interest for like every person. Himmler and everybody had like different reason for doing everything. But why they had like this common unity with Hitler was that he was in power and he was a charismatic leader. And he was a bad guy, but he was that. And because of that, they were able to work together for a common goal. One of the common goals was we need to have an economy, right? Now going back to this like the 9/11 thing, economy might be a big aspect for these psychopaths who work together towards this. But when you have a bunch of fucking crazy people who all think their plan is the major plan that's happening right now, it's never gonna work together. I've seen that watching Survivor. I've watched 34 seasons of Survivor. Every time there's like the Survivor is a show, like TV show, where you live in an island, you live in a tribe together, and you start voting off people when you lose like a task, and then at the end there's just one person, and that's the ultimate survivor. That's why the show's name. It's kind of like roadies, but
is it a reality show?
Yeah, it's a reality show.
Okay.
Now in that reality show, everybody's planning together until like everybody thinks they're in the same place, but everybody has a different plan. Now to think, if you're trying to do this shit where you're trying to screw over the most powerful country at that time, and then you think you're gonna get away with it, and from the inside, with the most surveillance thing going on.
But if the people on the power are involved, I don't think those surveillance anything matters, because it gets destroyed. Everything gets destroyed.
I don't think so, man. Like, I do have a faith, and maybe my faith is misguided in like the long arm of the law, or like Seth Rogen says, get ready to get fucked with the long dick of the law and Superbad, like that. Bernie Madoff, one of the richest people, was running a Ponzi scheme. He got caught. People from Richard Nixon, President of the United States, got caught. He had to leave his post. Now, in a country like that, what do you think? Like, anybody's above reproach?
It's not a one-person job. I don't mean it's a one-person job. The whole system was involved.
So, like, you're thinking, like, everybody knew it. Just, like, unspoken.
Not everybody, but people, the key people in the power knew about
so it. So, it's like an unspoken truth where, like, nobody's saying anything, and then, like, these bunch of conspiracy theorists in the internet decide to show us the truth, and then for some reason they don't come out. I mean, let's say WikiLeaks is showing all these documents, right? For like all the bullshit that's going on in the world. If they knew that this shit was happening, wouldn't they have released it? It would be like the biggest tip of the century.
Yeah. I don't know.
And now, why I'm casting reasonable doubt on this is because that was a tragedy. A lot of people lost their families. And in a way, like the people who were actually like harmed were like people with brown skin. Now, I'm gonna tell you why. Any airport you go in, who are the most checked people with like extra backgrounds? Us. And we're not even like part of the religion that these people were saying we were, right? And I'm not saying anybody from that certain religion was part of it. And like this all bullshit that's happening is because of some idiot who decided to like not go and mend his own country and decided to shoot people and kill people by bombing them. And it could be anybody. I'm not saying like the country in itself which was attacked was the same. I'm not saying that. They carpet bombed the fuck out of people after that. Like even Obama, the guy above reproach, right? The guy who's said to be saint. He did drone attacks. I don't condone that. I never do. But like to sit there and think that all these people that lost their lives, and to say your government did that on your own, don't blame the people like outside. To say that, it's like such a disrespect to all the firefighters that work there, or the people who lost their lives trying to save people, and everybody that like united together to help that city come from that tragedy. It's such a disrespect. And I think like whenever like same thing with like Alex Jones, like
retaliating to it, and then after that thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands more died after the event.
Yeah, like the people who actually
in the
did
Middle
it,
East,
it's on their head for like doing that shit, and then it's not on the head of people reacting to that. Of course, like if somebody attacks your house, you're gonna go and then fuck shit up everywhere, looking for shit everywhere. Like who's trying to fuck you up? If you don't believe that, watch the show Punisher. That's like the American mentality, you know. If you want to see how like revenge is actually carried out by Americans, I would say go watch Punisher. Yeah, but like now,
But killing innocent people is not an option.
Yeah, here's where like I go, like I kind of get pissed off at like conspiracy theorists. It's like Alex Jones with like the Sandy Hook thing, like the mass murder or whatever. Alex Jones was a piece of shit for saying that. Now some of the things he talks about, like the frogs are gay and shit, I like that. It's funny. Like
It's just funny.
it's just funny, but like going above and like saying some kids died and their parents have to hear from some dude saying that their children didn't die and they were just crisis actors. It's just bullshit. Like imagine you had a child tomorrow and that child died in a shooting accident and then somebody said, no, you didn't even have a child. You're just a crisis actor paid by like some Illuminati. How fucked up of a piece of shit would that person need to be, and how pissed off would you be? Now that's the kind of thing that I believe when there's like a certain tragedy which cannot be denied. With there's a commission for when they that did the 9/11, like they wanted to know what happened. There was a commission and they ruled out with engineers on board saying how this might have happened. And yeah. Now, going with Alex Jones, I want to talk about like chemtrails. Now, have you seen like chemtrails? I want to go first like how airplanes work. Like so, when you are flying airplanes up high in the sky, and then they're flying above the clouds. When you're flying at such a high speed, the outside air, when it touches the plane, trying to like the contact and the friction makes it so that you kind of create water vapor coming right behind you when you travel, right? And you see that wide little strip.
Trail.
So these idiots in U.S. mostly and other parts of the world, these are mostly from U.S. They think that's like chemicals thrown up in the air just to control the human minds.
It could have just leaked in the land.
Now,
so why would they leak it there?
No, there's one for the land too. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
There's multiple ones. Alex Jones thinks that's why the chemtrails are making people gay. That's what make the frogs gay. There's like a song. I'm gonna send that songs to you.
Okay.
Alex Jones, frogs gay song. Oh, okay. So there's a song. He rants as it's an indie song. You don't have to play all of it. I just send it that to you. He rants.
Okay.
These guys have edited the rant into a folk indie song, and then in it, like the whole concept of people. Like this is such a bullshit dude, you know. Like. I don't believe why, like, like, it's funny watching this dude. He's, like, just screaming at like, and then going after, like, all these people of different, like, ethnicities and then different, like, genders and stuff. And then they're just talking about shit that's, like, crazy, you know? And it's like, what? He's talking about planes are flying up in the air. They're throwing out chemicals. Just so that they can control the population by turning the frogs gay.
People's minds.
No, I don't even know.
It's amazing how people can imagine such things.
Now, something we share in common with this dude. Now, you must be sad why we share something common with this crazy dude. Is when his divorce came and then they were trying to portray him as the bad dude, he said he's only playing a character in his show.
No, that's a common point.
We're playing a character in our show too, but this dude took it to a whole new level. He said, so it might not even be true this dude even believes anything. He sells vitamins and like some shit like what do you call it? Like the thing like use like drinks, like the sports thing, like
energy
drinks and like sport elixirs or whatever. He's just a snake oil salesman basically, and we might be sued for libel, but We're only playing a character.
We're
We're only playing a character, Alex Jones, just like you. We're here to criticize you. And he does have a following. I'm not saying shit about this dude. He's a master manipulator. He is the best when it comes to like delivery and like uh, trying to understand like how to grab people's attention and then thing. And remember, do you know about Y2K? Do you know what Y2K is? This is another conspiracy.
No.
Y2K is like back in 1999. There was a thing that the whole world is gonna go to apocalypse because the computer is gonna go to zero instead of 2000.
It's over.
December 31st, right?
Yeah.
11:59. He was one of the dudes. He was the dude perpetuating that truth. He can't even lie about this shit. That he did it. And why we're talking about this dude is beyond me. Did you play that song?
It's going on.
It's going on. The magic of the internet. Alex Jones, man, like if you're high from tobacco, tobacco, you should like understand. Oh, I've got the best one. I'm gonna go back to the chemtrails and the fluoride later. So here's another conspiracy.
I'll pause this a second.
Here's another conspiracy. They say the FDA is suppressing the use of marijuana. Now, why we're saying marijuana right now instead of the other name we give it is because this is like a educational thing.
Okay.
So the
We're
conspiracy,
not supporting
anything. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. So why they say they stopped marijuana was because the American government can't earn money from it. Now they're legalizing marijuana everywhere. Now the government can earn money. It's cool again. And that's a conspiracy I believe in. Like, that's 100%, man. All these big shot companies are like suppressing marijuana. And I say, marijuana, why? Because there are certain people with glaucoma, cancer, people with hypertension, people who have diseases that cause pain throughout your whole day, and you have to get like meds every day just to like walk around and be sane. And like people with like Tourette's and everything, marijuana is seen to be like the cure for them. Not the cure in a sense like cure all everything, but like it relieves pain for these people. And to deny these people use for these things just so that they can live their lives is such a as horrible as like saying 9/11 was an inside job, because you're not taking into account like the humanitarian aspect of it all.
Exactly.
Sure,
there's
people
a resource and it can be used
positively,
but you're not letting anyone use it.
There's a positive and negative issue.
If it makes lives easier for those people, you have to let them use it.
And then the other reason about it is people think that you believe you are an individual with high moral right, and you follow XYZ religion, and it's banned in your religion, and then you're trying to stop people for using certain things because they're just like not following certain issues related to what you think is correct. That's just bullshit. And you want to just like not talk about like the issues anymore. Like I'm just gonna go rant about like some other issues today. You want to just end it, right?
Let's talk about the climate change.
You want to talk about climate? Then we're gonna have to talk about flat Earth as well. Do you want to talk about it in the next week's episode?
Okay, let's continue it on
next okay, guys, just watch it on the next week episode. We're gonna deal some more about conspiracy theories in the part 2 of this continuing discussion. Just, if you want to watch it next week, and if you don't, it's cool. And yeah, subscribe to PewDiePie. Yeah, it's pretty close these days. Like the war is almost like over, because we're gonna lose, because it's less than 100,000 subscribers on PewDiePie's channel. Just go ahead and subscribe to PewDiePie. You don't even have to subscribe to us. It's good that you do, but just subscribe to PewDiePie. Let's not lose this war. And if you want, guys, send like a picture to our Facebook or Twitter for saying I've subscribed to PewDiePie. Then I'll just say I'll write a nice little joke on your wall or like say
we
you're
can mention you here in the podcast as well.
like please subscribe to PewDiePie. We don't want to lose this war. That we don't want to lose against T series. Anyways, see you next week.
Thank you for watching.